This ain't no disco.
This ain't no country club neither.
This is RVA.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back
to
Oh La
in the Dungeon. Well, it's been a good 2 weeks since the last pod, and
a very busy 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, St. Patrick's Day came and went.
She's true.
Did you do anything fun, Liz?
I did. So I usually go to Rosie Connolly's at the farmer's market downtown, like Shockoe Bottom, every year. And one of my dear friends moved to Italy last year with her husband and kids.
That's that follower.
Yes.
Miles to Italy.
That's right. She listens every week, she said. Or every time we release. And she was visiting for like 4 days, so I felt honored and privileged that she reached out to me. So she used to work there every St. Patty's Day, nurse by day, server by night, just for that weekend because she's such good friends with the owners. And it was a really good time as usual. And she surprised them by showing up.
Aww.
She got there at like 2:30 in the afternoon. I was working.
That's St. Patrick's Day for you.
That's right. Matt and I walked down there after work, and I was like, "Are you sure you're going to still be alive? You've been there since 2:30 with jet lag." But she was still hanging on, and we enjoyed the pipers, the bagpipers, and all of the good beer. All the beer, all the Jameson.
All the Guinness?
Was. Yes. How about you?
I did a lot. Like I said, I went to Shamrock the Block with our friend Sarah. It was awful. I'm sorry.
No, just tell us how you really feel.
I will.
Hashtag horrible.
It was awful. All we did was wait in lines. We waited 30 minutes or more to get beer tickets, and we got way too many. Then we went into the beer line, which literally was a mile long. Like, literally a mile long.
I knew. Well, I wanted you to experience for yourself.
Well, you should have warned me.
Cautionary.
I didn't know. But anyway, we waited an hour and a half to get beers. And then we kept getting budged by people. I got into several verbal arguments with people, and Sarah was embarrassed. But so many people just left the line because they couldn't stand it anymore. And it was freezing, and we could only get 2 beers at a time. And I have a few recordings of our time there, and they are funny. And literally, it sums it up. Like, there wasn't much to say. Everything that we got the Uber ride, and we got the waiting in the line, and our pee experience. So here is that audio. Oh la la in the dungeon, we are here. Oh, turn it back up. Crank it. We are here in our Uber ride with Oh la la in the dungeon with our special guest, Sarah.
Hey y'all. So excited to be here with Miss Olivia, going to Shamrock the Block today.
Shamrock the Block and the best Uber ride of our lives.
Really vibing.
How you doing today?
I'm good.
You're on my podcast.
Yes.
What's your name?
Mustafa.
Mustafa? Oh my god, my boyfriend's last name is Mustafik.
Really?
Yep, he's from Bosnia.
Oh, Bosnia. I'm from Afghanistan.
Oh really?
Yes.
That's fun. That's cool that you guys have like similar names.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, well, we'll catch you when we get there. Goodbye.
All right, let's go.
All right, well, we just got our tickets for the beer at the festival, and a huge group of people in the ticket line just budged us. I am not happy at the moment.
Olivia tried cutting the line once already.
I did?
No.
I did not. I don't cut people unless they cut me first.
No, and yeah.
And that goes for knives as well.
I understand that.
I'm pissed.
It is quite the line for the beer. We've got 6 beer tickets in hand.
We're literally wrapped around the entire festival to get a freaking beer.
We're about to get 3 at once.
They have cornhole bags in the meantime, but nobody seems to be interested. Lisa's cornhole bag.
Hopefully this line goes by fast. We'll time it out.
Sarah, you might have to hold me back from fighting a bitch.
I understand. Guys, it's just, common courtesy. If you're with a group of friends, go to the back of the line.
Yeah, don't cut people. We've already been waiting too. It's just the festival. It's just mean and it's bad karma.
And it's rude.
So thanks a lot, people ahead of us. Pretend like you can't hear us, but we hate you.
Yeah, you'll be on our podcast.
Goodbye. All right, guys. Something really funny happened. So we both had to pee really bad, and there was a huge line for the porta potties at the event. So we were right by Movie Land, and I was like, you know what? They're gonna give a shit, but whatever. We have to pee. It's a public place, and we're not there to hurt anyone or raise a ruckus. So we went there, and this lady was like, thank you, was guarding the Movie Land. And so I was like, Sarah, don't make eye contact. Just go to the bathroom. Go straight there. And so we go, and the lady is like, ma'am?
Stop.
Ma'am!
Stop it.
Stop, ma'am! Ma'am! And then this guy's like, ma'am! And I'm like, I have to pee. I'm going to pee my pants. I am going to the bathroom. And we went to the bathroom, and then we left. But like, for God's sakes. And Sibo goes over here. Let's go around the CBS. So, that was the event, and I'm sorry, Movie Land, but I just had to pee. And I am an amazing patron at that place. I've been to many movies and will continue to go, and I am displeased with how I was treated. This is Olivia, and I'm drunk at Shamrock the Block. Goodbye! How do I stop it? Okay, so you can see, it was not a great time. The Uber ride was the best part.
That's pretty sad.
But we did love the vendors and the music. One vendor that we stopped by was Spiral Light Productions. They were a tie-dye company based in West Virginia, and Dave, the owner, sold us some killer tie-dye sweatshirts that he handmade himself, and he was so nice, and I want him to come on the pod. So hi, Dave, if you're listening. Another Dave.
Come on, Dave.
And follow us back.
Right?
I did a lot of other stuff too. I want to get into our special guest that we have here really quick, but I did want to shout out one more place. I went to the Verdant Lady again.
Oh my God, I love that place. Yes, everyone go.
Yeah,
Run.
they're so good. And I saw two members from the Grace Street 7 play, and they're a vintage jazz band. It was so relaxing. The singer was so good. He had like this thing that he wore, and he like rubbed spoons on it, which was really neat. Never seen that before.
Like a vest?
Kind of, yeah. And then, what else? Then I also ate from Les Crepes. How do I say it in French?
Yeah. Les Crepes.
Les Crepes. That was next door. It was convenient to be able to order and eat right at Verdant Lady instead of going to the restaurant. I had a savory beef crepe, and it was huge, and it was so yummy, and I ate half of it the next day. So go there.
And I, on Sunday, went, as usual, to Liberty Public House. We love that place. It's in Churchill. It is the best. Olivia and I go practically every Sunday.
Yeah, we do.
But she did not.
Shoestring
What?
fries.
What was that?
Yes, it.
Shoestring fries. Yes, they're the bomb. The drinks are the bomb. The service is great. We love our ladies who always take care of us there. So visit there as well, please. We hope to get someone on an interview at some point as well from there. So,
Okay, guys. So, like I said, we have a special guest here today. So I'm going to introduce him. When I first moved here back in 2017, which literally seems like yesterday, my godparents would take me to the Short Pump Poorhouse, and we would see bands and have cocktails there. It's a great local bar known for its packed dance floor. Among the crowd, someone stood out. I would always see an older, but not too old, chiseled, scantily dressed cowboy on the floor, complete with a hat, a suit vest, with no shirt underneath and his infamous stick-on flip-flops, dancing his ass off like he was at a festival. And I was intrigued to get to know him. And over the years, I have gotten to know him. And he has become a friend and someone I admire. I'm sure you've witnessed Barefoot Tom if you've had a fun night out in Short Pump or attended the Bryant Park Farmers Market or what's the festival?
The folk festival.
The Folk Festival. He's hard to miss in his sexy outfits and his attention-grabbing dance moves, and you've probably had a dance or two with him. Tom shared his enchanting life story to me and my good friend Jessica last year, and it was touching. He's had a full and eventful life, and today I want you all to hear it for yourself. So without further ado, let's welcome Barefoot Tom.
Woo!
Thank you. What a crowd. Thank you all. We're glad. I'm so glad to be here, and I love you, Olivia.
Oh, thanks,
You
Tom.
have
I
a
love
heart
you
of
too.
gold, and you just shine and light up the world around you. You really do.
It takes a person with a heart of gold to recognize a person with a heart of gold. That's how it goes.
Oh, love fest.
So tell me, are you originally from Richmond?
I was born in Louisville, Kentucky, and I moved here at the age of 5. I don't remember much of that. So yeah, I claim Richmond. I grew up here since kindergarten or the first grade, and so I've been here all my life. Yeah.
So where did you go to school growing up?
Well, I grew up around. I went to Ridge Elementary, Tuckahoe Middle School.
My boyfriend
and
went
Freeman
there.
High School.
Oh, Freeman.
Yeah, I went to
Ew.
Freeman. Tucker
Tucker,
was our
Tigers,
rival until they built Godwin, and then Godwin was Tucker and Freeman's rival because that's where
True
all the
story.
rich kids were at the time.
Oh.
Assholes.
No,
You're a rich kid, Liz.
Yeah, but I went to Tucker. I could still
He was
slum it.
humble.
No, I'm just
Tucker
kidding.
Tiger, and they don't call them the Rebels anymore. I guess to be politically, I didn't even know they changed that name until recently.
Oh,
I didn't
They're
know that
not
either.
Rebel. Yeah, if I understand.
what's
they're-
wrong with a rebel? Oh, is it like?
because it's Confederate, right?
Oh, okay.
Same reason they took all the historical monuments down on Monument Avenue, right?
See, I'm a Yankee. I'm a good guy.
You have to be politically correct in Richmond. So
So I have another question. This one's kind of silly. When did you start dressing exotically? Because let me tell the listeners, we already did, but you wear a hat, like you're usually in tight clothing, and you're always like barefoot with the stick-on flip-flops. So when did that start? Or did you always dress like that?
well, no, I don't always dress like that. Sometimes I do. I dress for fun. The thing is that I don't care what people think. I know who I am. I'm confident in what I wear, and I in the summertime I hate getting hot. I put off a lot of heat. You know, I really do. I'm hot-blooded, and so I wear shorts and I wear cut-off tank tops, but sometimes, you know, I'll wear a suit, but I don't put a shirt on under it. I'll put a bow tie on sometimes. It's fun, you know. If you got it, flaunt it, right?
Sometimes,
yeah. Oh my God. I
sometimes
love
you look like what's it called? The stripper boys. What is it? Like the Magic Mike Men, but what are they
it. Oh,
called?
Thunder from Down Under.
Or like what's the other one?
Chippendales.
Chippendales.
I don't know if it's all that, but yeah, I guess.
You're giving me Crocodile Dundee vibes right now.
Right, and
I love it.
I actually went to because the hat it's Australian, like cowboy Australian kind of hat, and people say Crocodile Dundee. So I went to Harbor Freight and bought like this 14-inch knife for $10, and then I said, "That's not a knife. That's a knife." And it's just
Crikey. I love it.
right?
Yes.
No, it's
Crikey.
fun, but you know, I don't. I just like to have fun. Now, I just started recently. Well, I say recently. In the past couple of years, I've got a beautiful little girlfriend now.
Aww.
You know, so I'm not as out there as I was. She reeled me in some. You know,
I bet she's wild like you.
No. Actually, she's opposites attract. She's very beautiful and very, very centered, and you know, so yeah, she's great.
Congratulations, Tom.
She's got children, and she's wonderful. So she really is. So I'm not quite as out there I was, but I will kick it when I go out to St. Patrick's Day. I missed that. Actually, you talked about St. Patrick's Day is still the Irish festival coming up.
Yeah,
we're
we'll
going.
be there.
And Sunday is the day to go. It's going to be sunny and 78.
Well, we won't be
And
there.
I bought a kilt. I never had one before.
Oh my gosh, we might have to.
I
go
get to
to
show off
see
my
that.
legs. You know, people always say, "Do you have anything on under that?" And I'm like,
Hell no.
Will you?
I'm hot.
"Oh, it's up for
That's another
to
question.
the
huh?
imagination."
Oh,
isn't
all
it?
right. I'll fill in the blanks.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. All right. So, okay. I know you love to dance. Were you ever a festival goer besides the one that you mentioned?
Well, no, I've been sober for like 33 years, right? And so,
And we are going to get into that.
yeah, but I just want to say that, so going to the quote the festivals where, the camp outs and everybody just, it's on.
Ragers.
And, it's really just, I go in, when you see me at these clubs and festivals, I go for the music and the dancing. I love music, moves me. I got it from my mom. She used to say, Tommy, you're the only one that's got my rhythm. Everyone else has two left feet. I got a twin brother. I've got two sisters and my dad. And boy, my mama, I tell you what, she'd get up out of the wheelchair and just start dancing if you put on Frank Sinatra or any music at all, really. She was something else.
Oh, love
So
it.
sweet. You gotta
What's your sign? Now I gotta know that. Now that you're a twin.
Aries,
Aries. All right.
March 31st.
Oh, you got a birthday.
You
coming up.
happy birthday, and also you have to bring your twin to the poorhouse and freak people out.
No, he's not identical.
Oh, okay,
He wore alligator shirts. I wore denim. He's fair skinned. I'm dark skinned. We're fraternal.
Okay, what's his name?
Tim. His name's Tim.
So maybe the milkman. I don't know.
And I grew up
Capable?
thinking my name was Tim Tom. Tim Tom, clean your room. Tim Tom, dinner's ready. So.
Okay, and then also you're in such good shape. Have you always been in good shape?
Oh, I was in the military, and and we learned to take care of ourselves in the military, And I've got good genes, I think, genetically. But I eat right. The biggest thing I do to stay in shape and have for many, many years was I cut out any soda. I don't drink Coke. I don't drink Mountain Dews. All that stuff is so packed. 46 grams of sugar a can. And today it makes me sick. And what else really helped me was I got into hot yoga for a while.
Ooh, I love hot
I
yoga.
got into hot yoga, and when I didn't even make a conscious decision at that point to start eating correctly, but I started craving cantaloupe, broccoli, salads. I started once all the toxins were flushed out of my body from taking hot yoga, I just naturally craved healthy food, and that's really the crux of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, like, what's a typical day of food for you? Like, what do you eat do you eat breakfast?
I'm carnivorous. Yeah, I pretty much eat 3 meals. But I cut out a lot of red meat in the past few years. One thing, it got so expensive, right? But it's really not that healthy for you. I used to eat it because I thought, it drove testosterone and muscle and
Yeah.
all, and it's pretty darn tasty.
Oh, yeah.
But on the other side of the coin, I eat a lot of chicken and turkey and some pork. I do. I actually in the winter I'll cook up these big Smithfield country hams and boil them.
Oh, Lord.
And then I cut them up.
Liz
put 'em in
loves ham.
Red beans in a crock pot and a country ham that I
All
cook.
right, I'm coming to your house.
My mouth's watering right now. My redneck friend says it's smack your mom in the mouth good.
Hails to the year.
Grandma. My boyfriend, who folks is actually here in the dungeon. He's not on the podcast though. He's in the corner.
He's listening intently in the background.
He's really into fitness too, and all he eats. It's so funny. I always tease him. His apartment just will forever smell like ground turkey. He loves ground turkey.
That's good.
That's all we eat, really. We don't eat ground beef.
Well, I ate a lot of salads with cantaloupe and grapes, and I throw chicken on it or salmon. I love salmon. I didn't mention that.
too.
Blackened salmon.
Oh, me too.
Ooh, yeah,
I just
a
learned how
little
to make it
spicy.
right.
Yeah.
It has to be pan seared.
Oh yeah.
The picture you posted the other day, actually, of your
It was
bowl
so
looks
good.
good. Or maybe it was yesterday. I don't know.
That's good
But
stuff.
thank you for saying I look good, because at my age, I tell you what, a lot of guys my age don't.
I know.
They got bellies and they just out of shape, and I'm really grateful that am able to be this healthy.
Yeah. You do a good job, too, because you look young and you act young. So that must feel good.
It's a result of not drinking or smoking cigarettes or
Mm-hmm.
or doing drugs or any of that stuff.
And you would have never known that because you're boogieing on that dance floor. I'm like, how does anyone do that sober? But you're so inspirational. I love that.
I know. I love that too.
I used to think years ago I could dance when I was drunk, and I was really just floundering around like an idiot, and I didn't remember it.
Okay. So before we get into, because Tom has an incredible life story, and there's lots to talk about. But before we get into all of that, Tom and I met in Short Pump. And so we thought it would be appropriate to do some Short Pump history.
Yes, and I'll give a little personal history. I moved to Short Pump. This is Liz speaking, if you can't tell the difference. Some people can't. I don't know. In 1991.
1992.
I know, you wish. And when we moved out there was nothing but like cow pastures. Only the Walmart was there in 1991. I think they had just built it. There was Short Pump Middle School. There was no light where you turn from like Pouncey Tract onto Knuckles. And there was I loved it, a circus farm there, and they had llamas. One of the llamas had a baby. I named it Clifford in my head. I don't know what they really named it,
Must have
but
been
I
before
think
Napoleon
it was
Dynamite.
So cute. It was before Napoleon Dynamite. This was 1991. We're talking Betamax years. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, I old as well. But let me drop a little history on y'all right now. All right, so Short Pump. Let me tell you about it. The year was 1815. Robert Hyde Saunders, who fought in the Revolutionary War, opened a modest tavern along Three Notch Trail, present-day Three Chopped Road. At the time, the trail was the main route between Richmond and Charlottesville, and as such was well-traveled. Thomas Jefferson, who took this route between Virginia State Capitol and his home, Monticello, is said to have stayed at the tavern several times. A comparison of maps from different time periods places the tavern somewhere in between the present-day 7-Eleven and the Taco Bell next to the Short Pump Walmart.
Wow, beautiful.
I know, right?
Absolutely beautiful scene.
According to records obtained in the Library of Virginia Archives, the tavern had a small water pump out front for stagecoach horses to drink from. At the time, well drilling was quite costly. Duh, it was like the 1800s. And to save money, Saunders had a porch built directly over the water pump. The only problem was there wasn't enough clearance between the pump handle and the porch to get a full stroke of water.
Uh-oh.
What did they do? I know. The pump was shortened in one way or another. One story is that Saunders cut off the end of the pump's wooden handle, leaving only a short, nubby end.
Oh, my God.
The other is that the entire shaft, it sounds like I'm reading porn right now, sorry. Brown chicka, brown cow. What? Yeah. The other is that the pump was cut off and dramatically shortened. Either way, the short-handled pump became a quirky fixture at the tavern, and patrons soon started telling one another that they'd meet at the Short Pump. There you go, folks.
Wow, my mind
that's
is
really
blown.
great. I've lived here all my life, and I hadn't heard that story.
I didn't know that
before.
either.
That's great.
The more you know.
That's
Wow. Oh, wait, I keep playing the wrong things. I keep playing Weet Woo. I can't whistle, guys.
It's subconscious, like.
So I want to say that Style Magazine years ago had a contest, and it said, and the contest was you had to end this sentence, "You were very Richmond if," and the winner was, "You were very Richmond if you know that short pump is not a sexual disorder." Which was, I thought that was hilarious. So that's
hilarious.
That's one of the winners anyway. I remember that. So.
I must be really Richmond.
Right.
But yeah, so there's a little history to give you guys some context as we're talking about all these Short Pump stories, like Poorhouse, etc.
Yeah.
I'm trying to talk in my like cultured voice. Is it working?
It is. It is.
Okay.
You're doing a wonderful job. So Tom, what is because we're talking about Short Pump history. Where is your favorite place in Short Pump to go to? Is it the poorhouse?
Well, I like going to the mall. I really do. I like going shopping, getting my clothes.
It's a nice
and stuff
mall.
there.
It's
a
an
nice
outdoor mall.
It's a
Yeah.
nice mall. And not only that, I've got grandchildren, so I'm a frequent flyer of the Short Pump Express, the
Aw,
train that goes
yes.
through there.
That's so cute.
And my grandchildren are 3 and 6 and 8, but we've been going there for years, and so I used to have season tickets to the Short Pump Express. But my favorite hangout has been the poorhouse out there. They had several bars open and close right over across the street from Target, over there in that area, and
Yes.
they had an Irish bar over there, but they've come and gone. But Poorhouse is stuck around. And, it's good owners, good people. I love the staff there. The staff there is over the top, really super nice.
And it's a very chill vibe in there. Like, it's not over the top. Like, I love the Richmond places, but it's a different type of feeling. Like, it's like a
It's not
hometown
stuffy.
feeling.
It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
stuffy. Yeah, I can wear a hat. I wear a hat all the time.
Wear whatever
I'm
you want.
politically challenged.
Yeah.
I wear my cowboy hat. You go down to tobacco companies, like, you need to take your hat off before you come in here. And
Ooh.
Or no jeans.
Yeah. You can't wear
I need a
those.
collared
Put some
shirt
shoes on, man.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's a good one.
I've been stopped several times for that, but I have to lift up my heel like I'm a horse and show them I've got shoes on.
Well, it always seems like it's a good crowd of regulars at the poorhouse.
Yeah, well, and it is. It's good people.
I love the barbecue that was there the time before. That place has changed a lot, like a couple of times.
You know what's really sad? One of my favorite bartenders passed away from there. His name was Cabo.
Oh, I remember seeing that
He
online.
was so sweet. Good person. I don't know what happened, but he had children. Just sending him a prayer right now. But rest in peace,
Aw.
Cabo. You were great.
R.I.P.
But,
Moving on.
what else you got, Liz?
Okay, so you mentioned you were enlisted. What branch and how old were you when you were enlisted?
So when I was 19 years old, right after I graduated school in '79, and
I wonder if my mom knows you.
so in 1980 I went in the Army, and I told the Army I would take one of 25 jobs, and if I couldn't get one of those jobs, because my sister was a recruiter and she had a list of all the jobs, and I said, well, I'm going to get something so when I get out I can have a career. They don't hire tank drivers,
Right?
out in the outside world. So I wanted to establish.
Wish they would.
So I got into one of the things I picked was helicopter repair, and I got into attack helicopters, Cobras. And I was down in Fort Hood, Texas for a while, and then I went over to Germany. And I was in Germany for a while. And when I was in Germany, the wall was still up.
Oh, wow.
And we would actually patrol the wall up and down with our helicopters, and we'd go up on the Czechoslovakia border and live in the mountains in the snow, and it got to be pretty rough sometimes,
Wow, I can't imagine.
living out there. And,
Sounds adventurous.
It was, but I mean, I've flown in the front seat of a Cobra, and I have to say, I've saved a lot of lives too. I was, we talk about Top Gun pilots and all that. I was what you might call at the time a Top Gun mechanic. I really was. I was sought after, because I just had a knack for it, and so I did really well and excelled in that. And then I came out and was in the Virginia National Guard flying with Hueys for a long time, and we flew a lot here, and that was a lot of fun. And Hueys, like if you've ever seen the Vietnam air helicopters, or
Sure.
Apocalypse Now, when they had the cavalry coming in, and
Yeah.
the commander said, "I love the smell of napalm,
Yes.
napalm in the morning.
morning.
It smells like victory," But I actually have flown a lot, and we did a whole lot of. We did flood relief, fire, putting out fires, lifting up water with the helicopters and dropping
Wow.
on the fires, and we did actually drug eradication. Back when in the day, the state police needed an observing platform because they couldn't go onto somebody's property unless they saw the marijuana themselves, and the National Guard would fly them over
For marijuana?
these fields. And then back in the day when
Whoa.
marijuana was
Scary.
illegal, and they would go out and put.
This was literally 10 years ago.
So one quick story, and I'll stop this, is when we were doing that out in West Virginia, one of my constituents, they flew over this barn, and they were suspected, the police knew where to fly, they wanted to fly. The guy walks out of the barn and comes back in, and then goes into his house, and the whole barn erupts in fire. And they called the fire department, and they moved all the people were standing by to raid the place, I guess, anyway. And they came in, and he said, "Why'd you burn that farm?" And it turned out there was a lot of marijuana up in the top of the
everybody
rafters
got
and
high
things,
after that.
right? And he says, and they asked him, "Why'd you burn that barn down?" "No, I've been meaning to burn that barn down for years." But now this is what I was told. I wasn't actually there, but that's a heck of a story, really.
Then he forgot what he was talking about because of the fumes.
Yeah, well,
No.
but no, I remind you now, I wasn't a police officer. No, my job was to keep people alive and keep the helicopter. I'm a mechanic.
Going.
I'm a
Yeah.
mechanic.
Did you ever fly anything yourself?
Off the record, yeah.
Ooh.
Right, but
We're on the record.
No. I mean, I had some pretty cool pilots over in Germany and around that I never took off and landed. Hovering a helicopter takes a lot of skill.
Technically, I did that when I was a little kid in a plane one time, and I got a sticker for it. So, off the record.
You took off?
I'm just kidding. No, when we were up in the air, I sat with the
Yeah, they
pilot.
gave you a
different
cigarette.
flying up in the air. when
Off
you
the
got
record,
in
off the
there,
record, guys.
Yeah.
Where were you stationed in Germany?
I was near about 45 miles southwest of Nuremberg.
Oh, nice.
So I guess you might say, yeah. So,
Crazy
it was good times. And a lot back then. You party hard and you worked hard, and but the whole thing was keeping people alive.
Is that your craziest story in the Army, or do you have one that you feel comfortable sharing? Because it's fascinating to hear. It's like a whole different world.
Well, they would take us out. They would take us out, and we do firing exercises, live firing exercises. And so wherever the pilot on a Cobra looks, he's got a sight on his helmet, and it zooms in on. That's wherever the cannon points, right? And 20 millimeter cannon shoots, and I got to shoot that before. That was fun. After all the pilots had qualified, they would take the crew chiefs out and let us shoot some of the ammo and stuff. But then we had to go out and clean up all the field and all the brass and everything that hit the ground.
Ooh, that sounds awful.
Ew, hiss.
Well,
They need to hire some janitors in the Army.
We loaded tow missiles and stuff, and we'd be on guard duty up in the mountains, and guard duty. It was a real thing. It was a real thing, right? You're around the helicopter, so we'd be on guard duty, and I'd have to wake up at 2 a.m. and spend from 3 to 6 out in a road by myself with an empty M16 rifle. They didn't give you ammo back then. There wasn't a war going on, and there were wild boars running around in the woods, and you could hear them.
Old Yeller, I'm scared of that.
I got my M16 back like this, like a baseball bat, and we had night vision goggles, right? And so, but another story is we were flying under night vision goggles one time here in Virginia exercising, and we had the helicopters on approach into an LZ landing zone into the woods, and with the infantry lays down glow sticks, and under night vision goggles they're very, very visible to the naked eye. They wouldn't be, but when you're coming in, and they would make arrows on where to land.
Oh, okay.
Right? And so we practiced coming in like that to pick up at night with no lights on any of the helicopters, right? That's a real thing.
Yeah.
And under the goggles, and we didn't expect this, but all of a sudden a storm cloud came out of nowhere, and a flash of lightning went off in front of all of us, and everybody's goggles whited out, right? Because we're under NVGs, which multiplies the light a whole lot.
Yeah.
And when it came back on, I flipped my goggles off, and all the crew chiefs did, and we're talking, you got one down low at 3 o'clock, go right, go left, go up, go down. And we were keeping the pilots from crashing because they were blind.
Oh my
And we
God.
literally nearly crashed
Like a
into the
seeing eye
helicopter next
dog.
to us. So that was scary. Another time I almost ran out of fuel over top of the mountains, and another time, it's just a lot of. On one time, we were doing hazardous material after a flood, and we're flying real low along the river, looking for waste oil drums and hydraulic drums that had washed up in the river. and the pilot's flying into the sun, and we nearly flew into high-tension wires. The big
my
monster wires that
God,
go
yeah.
across the river.
Yeah.
And I'm the one that saw it. I hit this.
I
hot
remember
mic and
this
called
story. This is the one you
wires.
told me and Jessica.
Right, I hit it, the pilots weren't seeing it. One was looking out the window for barrels, the other was adjusting his hood, and the sun's in his eyes. And I called the wires, and he did what they call a quick stop. And our blades were literally, I'm saying, I'm not exaggerating when I say they were probably 30, 50 feet away from these wires.
Wow.
And they backed off. We didn't crash. Aviation is inherently dangerous, but there are checks and balances, and that was my job as a crew chief, right? To be the third set of eyes and to keep people safe. When we got back that night, both pilots came out and threw a case of beer in my 2 cases of beer in my arms.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tom. So
Wow. So
Wow.
that's like you've mentioned to me you've survived a lot of miracles. So going into that, I know that you survived some car crashes.
yeah,
So
I've had some. When I was in the military, I was home on leave, and I drank back then, and I totaled a car by myself right on Gayton Road. It used to be more country,
yeah.
right back then. And the road turned, and there was a bunch of gravel. Somebody had just done his gravel, and I was really flying down that road like at 4 a.m, and the car flew off the road, hit an embankment, came back on the road, flipped about 5 or 6 times, and the gear shift hit me in the stomach and ruptured my intestines. And
Oh my God.
and I was bleeding out of my nose and my mouth, and I was in. By now, I'm on the side of the road in the field, and God sent a cop out there at 4 a.m, and he found me. And I remember being on a hard stretcher, and I grabbed the hard boards, and I grabbed the rescue driver's wrist, and I said, "Don't let me die." And they told my parents I was going to die. They said they said they thought I was going to die.
How old were you?
I was 23.
Wow.
And here's one of the miracles about that, right? Is I didn't die. I woke up the next morning, and I had this huge pouch. They cut my stomach wide open, and they took out 23 inches of my small bowel. And I mean, it was just really,
Oh
really
my
horrific.
God.
Went back to Germany, and about 3 months after sitting in the hospital, and I recovered from all that. But here's the thing. Fast forward to 2012, right here at Cox and Knuckles Road, I got blindsided by a truck doing probably 50, 55 miles an hour into my driver's door of my Jeep Cherokee.
How the hell did you survive that?
It crushed the door into about the gear shift. I didn't have my seatbelt on, and it popped me over to the left side. Because the whole seat was turned down to sideways, completely crushed. The door was all the way in, and that ruptured my spleen, ruptured my intestines again, broke my pelvis in 4 places, broke 5 broken ribs, and bone pops out of my shoulder here, and the Henrico Fire Department came and cut me out of this vehicle.
My
And I'm telling, they had to cut the roof off and slide it back. Now, I
Oh.
want to tell you what a hero Henrico Fire is, right? I look up, and there's this guy. He's huge. To me anyway, I look up, and he looked like a giant. And this guy says, he's coming out this way. And I weigh 200 pounds. I'm not kidding you. His adrenaline or something. And he picks me up by himself and hands me down to this crew who got me into the ambulance.
Makes me want to cry.
Who gets me to the hospital, and I'm in within minutes of bleeding out, right? Because my spleen's ruptured. Now, the next day, here's the miracle I want to say. The next day, the head of trauma of MCV, or now VCU, came into my room and said, she said, Tom, she said, it's my day off, and I don't get too many days off, but I came in to tell you what a miracle you are. She said, your spleen was completely severed, and you should have bled out at the scene of the accident. But you had adhesions around your spleen from your previous accident, from your previous surgery when you were younger,
God.
that restricted the blood flow and saved your life. So if I hadn't been in the accident when I was, 23 years old,
And had your seatbelt off in this one.
I'd be dead today. And I got a ticket for not having my seatbelt on.
Well,
We're
always
like
get ya.
just
But
ticket.
then, 6 months after I get out of the hospital, I get pulled over, right? And I didn't even know I had these tickets. So the officer says, it looks like there's a warrant for your arrest. I was blindsided. I said, what? He said, yeah, failure to stop for a stop sign and not wearing a seatbelt, and you didn't appear in court. Well, I was in the freaking hospital,
Yeah.
in a nursing home for 3 months, and I was never served that. But when I went into court, the judge looks at me and says, your charges are dismissed. You may go. And they, boom, so,
Whoa. How old were you in that one?
I think 55,
55.
something like that. 52.
Sorry, I had to say it.
52.
Wow.
That's nuts.
Yeah. So
You gotta
anyway.
watch out for your lower half, I say.
And another time,
Is
I'm
that-
going down 64 picking up my kids for visitation. A
These
tractor
roads around
trailer
here.
flips over in front of
my
everybody. I mean,
gosh.
jackknife and side to side flips over. I'm behind a big black Navigator, and it exits the road at 70 miles an hour into the grass because his car is stopped in front of him. So he slingshots me into the back of this Grand Prix, and I knock it up on the road, and my engine came through the back. And through the whole thing, it pushed the whole engine into the car.
I'm scared.
You know what I got? I got a scrape on my knee and a bump on my head. And I was, as God put his hand down there and saved me. That night, I went to, well, I can say this. I went to a meeting. I went to a meeting that night, and I shared what a miracle it was that I had survived. I had 3 kids at the time, you know. And my friend, this guy says, wow, I'm really glad you shared that miracle. I said, yeah, but Brian, I got to be at work Monday morning. I can't afford a car. I got 3 kids. I'm a single dad. What am I going to do? And he says, I've got a $5,000 Jeep I wanted to sell. And God told me not to sell it, that somebody I knew was going to need it. How'd you like to have that for $1,500?
Oh, my
Wow.
gosh.
And so I had this horrible accident on Saturday, and on Monday I'm driving around in a vehicle better than the one I wrecked.
You made it out okay.
So anyway,
God
those
works
are my
in
car
mysterious
accident
ways.
stories. So.
All right,
Wonderful.
So you did mention that you're sober now. Do you feel comfortable sharing your sobriety story? Like what led you to that?
I mean, back in the 70s and 80s, everybody partied, and in the military, you know, everybody drank, and you know, I'm a recovering alcoholic. I'll say that. So I just because this is anonymous. It's why I don't want anyone to know who exactly I am.
Sure. Barefoot
But
Tom.
you know, so yeah, you know, I was flying. I went to a treatment center by way of an intervention. Okay. Well, after that accident, I went back to Germany. I stayed sober for a while, right? And then I came back. Getting out of the Army, somebody puts 1 beer in front of me and says, here you go, you don't get out of the Army every day. And I said, you know, I'll never get out of the Army again. So I drank it, and I relapsed. And I was a very highly functioning drinker, you know.
Right.
I never let it interfere with work. Very professional with that. But it got to a point where I was traveling around the country repairing aircraft for, now I'm out of the military, for a miscellaneous company, and I'm just living out of a suitcase and a toolbox, and I'm drinking my butt off, and my family had an intervention, and they sent me to what was St. John's Hospital on River Road. Now, this was it was a monastery, and then it became a treatment center, and then it became a monastery again, and now I think it's part of St. Benedictine's, but it's a beautiful place right out on River Road.
I bet it's beautiful.
It's further out, right?
Yeah, it's farther out
Okay,
down River
yeah.
Road.
Monasteries are beautiful.
But here's the cool thing. That place was a miracle to me. That's where I found sobriety. I've never drank since I went there. But, you know, 5 years before I went there, I was flying with the National Guard, and I've taken pictures of other helicopters and things like this. And I looked down, and there's this beautiful property, and I took an aerial view of this property and slipped it into my album. It was St. John's Hospital.
Wow.
And I have that picture. It was a little foreshadowing, you know, and it's pretty.
It's amazing how the
Synchronous.
universe and God works.
Right. So anyway, I have been sober. I right out of there, I met a girl. She had a 4-year-old. He was a beautiful boy, and you know, and then I adopted him. He asked me to be his daddy. He said, "Tom, will you be my daddy?" And I said, "Yeah." And I married her, and we had another child. Then we had another child, and things went south. We'll just go from there. And I ended up taking custody of all 3 of them. You know. But they're the best blessings of my life, you know. And things have really been fantastic ever since. I'm telling you, I used to think that, you know, a lot of people say, how do you dance sober? How do you have fun sober? You know, alcohol and drugs is a wet blanket. Sobriety is not a wet blanket. Sobriety is fun. Think about it, right? I've got money. I'm healthy, right? I'm confident. I don't have to look at the ground. I have nothing to hide. Absolutely nothing. I can look any man in the eye, you know, because I'm confident.
Mm-hmm.
you know.
And you overcame, like, you know what it's like to be down that path. You've been down that path.
Well, you know, God didn't get me sober because I'm at the top of his favorite people list. I hit my knees in that treatment center with tears rolling down my eyes, and I said, God, please take away my physical desire to drink so I can be the person you want me to be. I really said that, and I was by myself. I had snuck in there. The morning sun was coming through the stained glass window and shining on the altar.
And it's
I
a
felt
holy
the presence
place,
of
too.
God like I've never felt in my life. And from that day forward, I've never had a compulsion to drink since.
That's
Ever.
amazing.
Yeah, I'm telling you. But now, see, I've helped many people. I've helped a lot of people. A lot of people have helped me. But and it's not just with alcohol or recovery with drugs or anything like that. I mean, I'm still helping people. I've shared that I've lost my son.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Can I go into that? Right?
Yeah.
So I've had some real fantastic things happen. Well, before I get into my son, I want to say that I was like 9 years sober, and my mom was a severe alcoholic. I grew up in an alcoholic household. My mom was an alcoholic, and I never thought she'd get sober, right? So I'm 9 years sober, and I'm going over to the house. She's great. She's fun, but she was a severe alcoholic, and one day she was lit in her living room, and she said, Tommy, one of these days I'm going to go to those meetings with you. I'm like, yeah, Ma, you want to go now? Not today, but one day I'm going to go. Well, one day I said, do you want to go now? And she got her drunk ass up and poured herself across the front lawn and got in the front seat of my car, and I took her to a meeting, and it was a speaker meeting, and this 72-year-old housewife drunk was telling her story about how you would drink too if you had her life, and then the kids were grown and gone, and the husband didn't pay attention, and you drink too, but how she found sobriety and how better her life got. And the next morning, my mom would put herself into a rehab and stay sober the rest of her life, 13 years.
Wow.
And everybody
That's a
fell all
miracle.
over her. And I used to hate the woman until then, I had a lot of resentment toward the woman until the day she got sober, and then she was my best friend. She's the most beautiful person ever, ever. And when she died of a stroke at 85, it was a procession, one of those ones where you're like, oh my gosh, is this thing ever going to end? People can't cross the street because it just keeps going. There are hundreds of people there.
Wow. Oh, my gosh.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, just from meeting you tonight, I can only imagine what you came from.
So my son, my youngest son, unfortunately, I don't want to go too deeply into what happened, except for that he had this. He had a disease too. He drank too much, and he had a son that was 2 years old at the time. And let's just say he got into some trouble because of his drinking, and he had a lot of consequences coming. And when people have a blackout drunk, they'll come out and say, "Oh my God, what happened to my car?" They don't remember. Well, he was in a blackout, and let's just say he never came back. He never came back. He died. And they came and told me in the morning that he was married to a beautiful girl, and my grandbaby's mom is just the most wonderful lady. Oh my gosh, we fostered this relationship. I would seen her that day. I've had a lot of guilt over the death of my son. I wish I had done more, thrown a burlap sack over him, or called the police on him and got him arrested. There's so many people that have lost their children to addiction, but I've had to let that go. I've had to let that go. I did offer to send him to treatment, and I offered to be there for him. And whenever he got in trouble, I was there for him. I miss him sorely, every minute of every hour of every day. But I have his son, and I have a picture of his son holding a picture of my son when he was 5, and his son is 5 now, and they look identical. I got a picture of him holding.
I can attest. You sent me the pictures, and it's uncanny. It looks like the same
person. It's like raising my son all over again. And so what I want to share is, people are in despair. Maybe even tonight, people who listen to this podcast may have a lot going on in their lives that's negative, right? And people say, how do you get through that and not drink? How do you get through that and move on? Is I focus on the positive. I focus on anything positive in my life, especially how many people lose their children and don't have a get to raise their son all over again. I'm not really raising him, but he's in my life. And I have 4 other beautiful grandchildren and 2 other sons. And I'm healthy and I'm sober. And I just focus on the positive. Because when you focus on the positive, we're lifted up, right? And when we focus on the negative, we're drawn down. So anyone that thinks, oh, I heard something funny. It says, if you think your glass is only half full, quit bitching and pour it into a smaller glass.
True.
I love that.
I'll pour some more in.
Right.
God's sakes.
Anyway, so I've helped God's used me in many other ways, like over in Honey Tree Apartments a long time ago. It caught on fire. I was the first one there.
Oh my God, it's my worst nightmare.
And it was burning, and we're catching people from the 3rd story. I'm throwing rocks. Get out. And I'm helping people jump out the windows. I told the guy, go shut the gas off. He's like, the gas. And he went and shut it, and the fire department showed up, and it was just horrific, right? But, and then another time I'm going on Staples Mill Road a few years ago, and it's nighttime, and this SUV turned over, crushed, upside down. And there's 4 cars parked in front with their flashers on it, and I'm going to drive by. I'm just like, oh, there's somebody's cars there. Somebody's got to handle this. They don't need me. And God slaps me in the back of the head and says, pull over. And now I'm like almost a quarter mile away from it. He says, run. And I ran past every one of these cars back to that vehicle as fast as I could. And as I passed each car, I said, is anybody back there? Is anybody back there? Nobody had gotten out of their car. Nobody. They were just calling and waiting for the police. Right. I came around the vehicle, and the hood was squished down to the top of the door.
Oh, my Lord.
And I said, God, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this. And I heard this little voice. I went around to this ditch side of, there was about 2-foot space, and I got in there, and I looked in, and there was this little Asian woman, and she was stuck in there, and I was able to go in there and get her out. And then by then, one of the people that followed me down there, men, I said, pull my feet. And I had to take my coat off to get through all that. I got cut to shreds. I remember that, But we got this woman out of there. And, she was just all shook. I went back in and got her phone and her pocketbook and stuff.
Oh, my gosh.
Right?
That was nice of you.
Her leg was busted up pretty good, but she was alive. She was alive.
Thank God.
And the police, and finally they showed up, and the ambulance driver says, bring her down here.
I don't work for you.
No, we picked her up and brought her down. And
where's my paycheck?
But let me tell you, at the end of that, there was 3 men in a triangle with arms on each shoulder, crying and thanking God because we had witnessed such a miracle. So I'm just
That's what
telling
life
you.
is all about, too.
Last night I'm in an intersection. I'm just going to stop here, but last night I'm in an intersection helping a guy, a friend of mine, young fella. Anyway, I won't say where we're going to help him, but he's a great guy, and this vehicle guy, old man, gets out of his vehicle at a stoplight and starts walking back and says, it just shut off. And his car, it's at Gaskins and Broad, and he's on Broad, and his car's starting to roll into Gaskins intersection.
Oh, my gosh.
And I ran out of my car, and I put my hands in front of it, and I stopped the car, and everybody's honking their horns, but I got out and stopped the car from rolling in.
What?
And then my friend
you're
got out.
meant
I
to
said,
be
hold
a
the car
hero.
here, hold the car here. And the guy had gotten back in his car, and you could tell he had dementia or something.
Discombobulated.
He didn't know he was too scared. And I said, get out of your vehicle. And I started it back up, and I got him back in the car, and we followed him home, But you know what I'm saying is it
I feel like God put you in people's lives to be a hero. It just seems like you've been a hero a lot in your life.
it's not, anyone would do, but some people are scared.
I don't know. I don't know if I could do that.
Other people were just sitting there. But
I probably
no,
would
you
be scared. I don't know.
Me too.
it's instinctive. It's instinctive, is what
I feel like he picks the right people to fight the right battles.
Well, there's a lot of people that are strong on me, and other men would do the same thing too. But there are some. I tell you what, drunk men would not.
True. It's very, very true.
So there we go. But,
We do have to start. I wish we could talk forever, and we
I
could.
know. Well, we might have to bring you back for a part 2.
Yeah. But we can talk
I don't mean
even
to
more.
Take up so
No,
much.
no. We
appreciate
love it.
I love listening to you.
This
I could
is
listen to you for
fascinating.
hours. So
But
maybe there'll be a part 2 and a part 3. Who knows?
But this is the part of the podcast. I mean, we've just talked about some heavy stuff.
Let's lighten it up.
We're going to lighten it up just a tiny bit with Give It. So this is part of the podcast, Tom.
Okay.
And it's, wait, hold on a second. We will be doing some funny questions first.
Okay.
Lee will be giving it to us shortly. All right.
Well, I will start with my always favorite question. What's your favorite swear word or phrase?
We're really switching gears.
What's my favorite swear word?
Yeah.
Or phrase, like swearing phrase. Like
Son of
mine is
a
like,
bitch.
fuck me up the ass, blah, blah, blah.
My favorite phrase is if I screw up, I say, "Well, tie me to an anthill and paint my ears with jam." I know that's
my
not
God, that
dirty,
was the most
but it's funny.
PG,
Kentucky.
but I loved it.
But that's old. But no,
Wait, say it again. I got to remember.
I said, "Well, tie me to an anthill and paint my ears with jam."
I like that.
And then, it's another thing I'll say when I screw up is, well, it's a good thing I got these looks because I don't have any brains at all. Yeah.
So do not swear.
I try not to swear.
Oh,
You know,
that's
I
a
got
good thing.
5
That's a good
kids.
thing. We don't.
I love
got
it.
5
That's why I don't have
grandkids.
it.
I do swear, but I also have a very professional job, and so yeah, it's a little frowned upon. Now, I swear, yeah, I do. I mean, I'm human, right? You know, I drop the F-bomb out there, whatever. But it's you say like, what's my favorite one? None of them. I don't wish I didn't. I wish I didn't do that. Really, it's
Well, mine is shit.
Damn it, you've made me sound like a total
no.
a-hole. I
I'm
won't
not
say
an
asshole.
angel. I'm not.
We haven't heard from you the whole podcast. What is your favorite swear word? I think we all know it, but we want to hear it.
The F word, of course. No,
Art?
yeah.
Font?
Actually, I have a question for Tom.
Yes.
If you were an action hero, what would your theme song be? What would be your entrance music?
Oh gosh, I don't know. What is that? I love the Rocky.
Indiana
theme song.
Jones.
Yeah, well, Indiana
Well,
Jones.
you remind
Rocky
me.
theme would be
But
perfect.
I do love the Eye of the Tiger, man. That's a.
Looking back.
Yeah.
You remind me of Indiana Jones.
Thank you.
Cute.
Oh. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Let me think. What is an obscure thing that you're talented at?
Obscure.
Yeah, like something weird that not many people can do, but you can do it. Besides, like, rescuing people and
Oh, you
flying
mean like
helicopters.
dancing,
Is
or
that an obscure talent? Like, for me, I can twist my thumb all the way around.
Ooh.
And I can hula hoop really well.
Oh, I can't. I can't really do. I can't do all that so much. I'm really good at playing with kids, man. I'm
Well,
very
you're-
mature for my age.
You're ripped at. How old are you? I don't know if it's polite to ask.
I'm over
a man.
60.
You are ripped. Like, you are chiseled. I guess that's an obscure thing you're talented at. Not
Well,
many people
that's-
can say that.
Getting ripped.
Yeah. I'm ripped because I don't get ripped. So
True.
that's
a good one.
the ticket there. I don't have a lot of obscure talents. I've got a bad back. One of my knees is going out from my crazy dancing. I'm known for my barefoot feet. I've got beautiful feet. People tell me I should put my feet on foot finders.
Same here.
Yeah,
They say that to me too. And Liz.
It's true.
I love a man that takes care of his feet takes care of everything.
Yes.
Right?
Oh,
Would
that's
you,
true.
you
That's
know?
true.
My
That's
God.
very
Rednecks say, ain't touching my feet. I'm like, well, no one wants to,
No one wants to suck on those toes.
No.
Okay, well, going with your grandchildren, what's the funniest thing you've ever heard a child say?
Oh, it's gotta be good.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, one of the funniest things I ever heard I liked was when one of my own son was like 5, and I was a new parent, and children are naturally selfish. They're just very selfish, and he was being very, very selfish. And I said, I'm not going to say his name, but I'm going to say, I said his name. I said, son, you're selfish, and he goes, Daddy, you're a shellfish. So it's always
Aw,
stuck.
that
If I
diffused the
say somebody's
situation,
selfish, I call him a shellfish. But
He was right.
but oh
That
my
is
gosh,
so cute.
and my grandson, I'm taking him I bought him a wagon. He's pulling Mickey Mouse up behind him. So we're going to the store. We're in a dollar store, and we go up there and buy toys. And he pulls his little red wagon with Mickey, cutest dang thing you ever saw, right? But I remember him saying, he's like, Grant, I don't want to get old. I said, why don't you want to get old? He says, because when you get old, you can't run fast like I can. And he
Just
started
stop.
just running, but he's so funny.
Aw, kids are so good.
Gotta love 'em.
It's true. Olivia, you got another one?
Yeah, hold on a minute. Okay. I bet since you're in the military, you've slept in some pretty strange places. Did you?
And, well, you remember the movie Forrest Gump where he slept up against is it Bubba? Him and
Yeah.
Bubba were back
Yeah.
to back in the pouring down rain and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean,
Sideways rain.
yeah. So in the military, in the old days, they used to give you half a tent, and you had to pair up with somebody else at half a
Lord.
tent.
And was it a
and
tiny tent?
well, that's because you carry the whole tent. It's more weight,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So you get half a piece of canvas. Imagine taking a little sheltered tent, triangle tent, and cutting it right down the middle and putting a zipper on it, right? And then or snaps, and so you have to pair up with somebody else, right? If you didn't pair up with somebody else, you had to make a lean-to type shelter. Where you only had half a tent, and it got cold. I'm telling you, it got cold out there. So I mean, I've slept in, and you got to pile up a bunch of leaves and stuff, whatever it takes to keep you warm. So, and there's people out there doing that right
For fun.
now.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
telling you what, I want to put
Or out of necessity.
I have full respect for we should honor our veterans. We should honor our
Yes.
military
Oh, my
because I
God.
want to take shout out to them right now. There are people, walking the fence, walking the line in there right now, all over the world, and risking their lives, and they leave their families, they leave their children and their wives. Shout out to military
Yeah.
wives. They're at home raising
Oh,
children
yeah.
by themselves in blizzards and storms, and they're unhealthy, and if they're sick, there's nobody else to help with those children because dad's not there. So shout out to
Shout out
military
to
wives.
them.
Shout out to the military
Yes.
soldiers.
We support them on this podcast.
Yes.
We will link some places where you can donate to some
Oh, that's
causes.
a
for
good
that.
idea.
Yep.
We'll add it to our link tree.
Yes.
Hey, Tom, do you have a go-to dance move?
I actually do.
He does. I know what it is.
Okay, everybody's going perk.
I lean all the way back on one hand, facing the ceiling, and then just act like she's on top. And it
Okay.
seems to get a lot of.
I know another
Response.
one you do. You lean forward with your hat and you start doing some Kentucky jive.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, you look like you're riding a horse?
Save a horse.
Save the horse.
Oh, yeah,
Ride a
that's
Tom.
right.
Save the horse, ride the cowboy. Right.
Oh, that'll be the name of the episode.
I do love to dance. I do. I love it. I love. And you know what? We're going to talk about Richmond, but I want to say Richmond's a great place. We've got more talent in this city. We are so lucky. We can go any night. We go.
It's
Which
true.
of half a dozen places do we want to go?
Every
I'm
day of the
torn.
week, too.
Right, every day of the week too. I've been to L.A. and they don't have anything. I was like, "Where's the music? Where's the fun?" Well, I don't know.
On YouTube.
Well, you perfectly segued into this. I would like to shout out some best bars in Short Pump. So
Ooh, that's a
we don't have to be right in the city. We can venture out to the West End. I know Olivia and I have both talked about the Verdant Lady. Everyone should go check that place out. It's so cozy. It's like a little warm morning jacket.
And it's very classy.
It is. You feel bougie when you're in there. World of Beer. Hello. Their pretzel is the bomb.
True.
They got a lot of beer. MPM Tiki and
that's what I was about to
Sports.
say.
Hello.
Tanya.
Yeah.
Love you.
Or Mom.
Yeah, Mom.
Mommy.
Have you been to MPM Tiki Bar?
I haven't.
You have to go.
It's really good. It's right near there. It's in the. It's in the mall.
Do they have music?
Yes.
They have live music.
They have live music. They have fun karaoke. Because
On
karaoke
Fridays they
can
have
be
karaoke.
lame. This karaoke, they have a hype man, and it's wild. There's tons of people. I had
Really?
so much
Because
fun.
people think I should sing 10 or 20
That'd
miles
be a
away.
great place to try it out, Tom.
10 or 20 miles away. I should sing solo. Solo, you can't hear me.
No, you got to sing loud and proud.
I'm going to let you be my social secretary, Olivia. You can
She
tell
Oh,
me.
man,
probably
I've
could
got a
do
lot
it.
of jobs
She does
to
it
do.
very well. But yeah, so those are some highlights from Short Pump. Go check them out. Please run.
Oh, what's
Don't walk.
MPM also? They own Yaya's.
Yeah, Yaya's. Oh my God, Yaya's is the
I've been
bomb.
to Yaya's.
It's
Yeah.
great.
And they have these really cool swings you can sit in while you're having a libation or two.
Or a sushi roll.
Yes,
Yes.
or a sushi roll.
Yeah, waiting for a movie or just coming out of a movie. It's
Exactly.
right there. It's right
yeah.
there next to the Regal Cinema. Yeah.
That's right.
Lee, are you ready to give it to us? We're patiently waiting.
Okay.
We want this.
So say the magic words.
Give it to us,
Lee. Tom wants it too.
Do you want a ribbon on it? Okay.
A yellow ribbon.
Now this is a little different because this week we got a new subscriber who wrote to me and said she listened to every episode of our podcast for my quote unquote sexy voice.
Ooh.
Well, we care about our fans, so as a service to this loyal listener in Eastern Virginia, this one is for you.
Ooh.
Cue the music. You stand at the window. The bright moonlight bathes you in its haunting glow. The window is slightly ajar, allowing the cool night air to dance across your nearly naked form, covered only in the thinnest and most revealing of silk nightgowns. There's a gentle knock as you hear the squeak of a door opening behind you. You don't turn because you know it's me. We've been waiting for this moment. It was just a matter of who acted first. You don't move or speak as you hear me approach, but you give a slight gasp as my warm body presses against you. The duality of the chill breeze with the boldness of my heated passion creates a maddening conflict in your mind. You close your eyes as you feel me run my fingers through your hair. And as I pull you closer, I say, I stop. We have to wait, I say. It's not fair, you protest. Why should we delay any longer for what we know we both want? You know as well as I do. I wear a look of painful acceptance. We have to wait for a later episode. Join us in a few weeks for the continuing story.
You really gave it to us there.
Lee, you gave it to us.
I'll
That
turn
was
the
the
fan
best
on.
you've ever given it to.
Mental masturbation.
Well, and that brings us to our next portion of this recording. Everyone's favorite.
Guess Lee's name. Tom, you're our guest.
You go first.
We don't know Lee's name. Lee is not his real name. Well, it's his middle name.
It's my middle name.
Oh,
Very few
So,
people know my first name.
Go for it.
Charles.
oh, everyone says that.
No.
Manfred.
No, you've tried that one.
Damn it.
I have one.
No, you didn't try it. Someone else tried it. But
I feel like it's biblical. Mateus.
no,
Bobby.
I was about to say that too.
no.
You sound like you
No.
wish it was Bobby.
Well, yeah. Well,
Amadeus.
I could. Musical. I would have liked that. No.
Micah.
Oh no.
Really going into the biblical.
I like your other suggestion. I'd like.
Bobby.
Well, no, because now
Robert.
Bobby Lee would be considered bad, so it'd be politically incorrect. So
Who's
William.
That was a
Bobby?
no,
William
no,
or Bill.
no.
Okay.
Reginald.
Reginald. Wow, sounds like
You've already said
could be
three.
Reggie.
You're
it
done,
sounds like a
Tom.
gothic.
I'm sorry.
It sounded like a gothic romance I was reading. So that would. The story,
Reginald ripped her bodice
the
apart.
story of
I'm
Reginald.
waiting.
The story of Reginald and Gwendolyn.
Peter.
No. Okay, so we have.
Wow.
No, but- yeah,
Losers all around.
yeah.
Now I gotta keep listening just to
20
find out
I
when you
know.
get it.
The $25 gift card is still
It
waiting.
will not be going to Tom tonight
Oh,
or us. Damn it, Tom.
Man, I need some free stuff.
All right. So,
I
anyone-
need a meal.
so does anyone have any shout outs tonight?
I do. We want to shout out, of course, Lee Dungeon Studios. If you need
Oh.
some music to your lyrics, you need a podcast recorded, but not on Thursdays because that's our day.
Or some
Um,
auto tune for your karaoke track.
Yeah. That's a good one. You want to give your family a CD of you singing, but don't have any music to go to it, or how to record it. Who are you gonna call?
Ghostbusters. No.
Lee Dungeon. Shout out to who did we talk about today?
Well, we talked about Rosie Connolly's. Shout out to them. They
Not
are on the
Shamrock the Block.
market. We will shout out all the other Irish places. Shout out to Churchill because the Irish Festival is this weekend. Everyone go hit it up. Let's raise some money for St. Baldrick's. There'll be some head shavings, etc.
I have a friend who donated her hair this past weekend.
Yep. Good cause.
I was going to shout, I forgot to say, but shout out to Lakeside Tavern. I went there to see my bandmate play, Randy. I went there to see him play with his band, Roar. And I had Korean food there, and it was so good. So shout out to them.
Yeah.
And this weekend, I'm planning to try out Mom and Pop's hot burgers and hot dogs. So over Lakeside. Shout out to Capital Chips. They're a new local grocery store. They only carry local items.
Oh, that's cool. I want to go there.
Yeah. So Capital Chips, and everything is very healthy. And the lady who runs the place, she works really hard. So. And they'll be open this Saturday. They're only open one Saturday a month, and they're open this Saturday, the 25th.
Wow, it's very exclusive.
Also, shout out to everyone who serves our country.
Yes, our military, and also first responders.
Yes.
Who've saved Tom multiple.
Yeah.
Thank you, Henrico Fire.
Yeah, they saved me too.
Did they?
They have not saved me yet. Fingers crossed.
Well, they're there if you need them. I'll tell you.
I know a few of them, and I love them. Yeah.
Amazing men.
A lot of people out there protecting
I went
us.
to high school with some of those firefighters, so love them.
God bless them.
All right. Well,
All right,
thank
guys.
y'all. We'll see you for an extra special episode.
Oh, yeah, next week. But also be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Our Instagram handle is at olala_RVA. And follow us on Facebook at Olala in the Dungeon. And if you know someone that would be a great fit for an interview on our podcast, please send us a DM.
I was going to say, we really want you guys to start DMing us. Like, seriously, I'm begging for it. Come on.
Give it to us.
I want to thank you for having me tonight. I love you both. I love what you're doing here, and like you, I love Richmond. I really do. It's a great city. We're really lucky. And I just want to say one more thing, and that is, if anybody's having a hard time in their life right now, anyone's listening having a really hard time, it's temporary. It's temporary. Don't make any permanent decisions for temporary feeling, okay? Anybody, just God will put people in your life the way he's done with me, and I've seen countless others. And if you just reach out and tell people you're hurting and let accept the help from others. Don't
Great
hide
message.
it. Don't bear it.
Yes. Such a great message.
Thank you so much, Tom. This was wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, we've so
What a
enjoyed
great
it.
guest.
Love ya.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Peace out. And until next time. Bye.